the Motoring World Experience, we revisit the Ed Cashman Ferrari collection, because who doesn't like a good throwback story? And I catch up with an old friend of mine about his home-modified Toyota Corolla. That all happens right here on the Motoring World Experience.
Ed Cashman was still in the U.S. Navy when he saved up to buy his first ever Ferrari, a 1981 308 GTBI, purchased new from a Ferrari dealer in North Carolina.
Well, I went into the Navy in 1972 and retired in 1993. It was my dream to have a Ferrari, and so in 1981 I was in a situation where I had some saved money, and I started looking around and went to a couple dealerships, and I found one down in North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina at the time, called Foreign Cars Italia, and they were very helpful. And the owner and proprietor, Steve Barney, he was also a Navy veteran, and he was very kind, and he said, if you're interested, there are 4 of them available right now, and you can have your pick of any one of the 4. And I said, the colors were, as I recall, they were a yellow one, a silver one, a black one, and this blue one. And I hadn't seen any of them, but I said, well, that blue one sounds very interesting. He says it's a gorgeous color. Steve was great. He flew me down to North Carolina. I was stationed up in Brunswick, Maine at the time. And he said, don't worry about it. If you don't like the car for any reason, or something, it's no problem. You can fly home and there's no questions asked. He says, but I got a feeling you're going to really like it because it's a beautiful car. And so we got down there, he met me down at the airport. It was wonderful, and as soon as I saw the car, I was taken. I said, oh yeah, I love this car, and I took it out for a test drive, and right from then on, that was it. I knew I had to have it, so I acquired it, and I've had it ever since 1981. And it's just very hard. Now, since that time, I've been able to, I purchased a few years later a 365 GTB4 Daytona Ferrari, which was an amazing car. And I owned that for like 33 or 34 years.
Cashman said he had the help of 2 friends transport both his 308 GTBI and a 71 365 GTB4 Daytona by co-driving both of them from Philadelphia to Monterey in 5 days. A story well documented in a special newspaper op-ed in the Monterey County Herald.
I had just gotten out of the Navy. I retired from the Navy, so I retired in 93, so it was probably 94. They were having a big Ferrari gathering as part of the Monterey Speed Week out there in Monterey, California. And my wife and children were already out in Monterey. She was still in the Navy. She had the children out there, and she was going to postgraduate school. So I was going to be going out to Monterey anyway, so I decided it's the perfect time. We'll take the 2 cars out there and get them, and we'll have them in the show, the big Ferrari show there. So I had the situation. I had to get both cars out there, and of course I could transport them. But there were 2 fellows that I had met when I first got into Monterey, and one of them had an independent Ferrari maintenance shop, and the other was a co-owner with him of a 308 GT4. And so I was discussing it with him, my situation. He said, well, listen, why don't we come out there, and the 3 of us, we can drive both cars cross country. It'd be perfect time to do it. I said, that sounds like a great plan. So they did. They flew out and met me in Philadelphia. I went back there, and we got both cars ready. That was this 308 as well as the Daytona. And we started driving. We mapped out our route. We took a southerly route because there was apparently some weather that was going to be bad up north at the time. So we took a southerly route, and we had an amazing trip. It took about 3 or 4 days total, and we made several stops on the way, checked out some different things. But we had a great time, and we just alternated driving assignments between the 2 cars. So we did that, and it was a lot of fun. And then we proceeded to make our trip across the rest of the way into California and up to Monterey. It was just a great trip.
Reminiscing, Cashman said the Ferrari Club of America meet in 1994 was a memorable event he attended with his 308 GTBI.
When I got it out there that year, of course, I got it there some days before the show, maybe a week or two before the show, and it needed to be cleaned up after it's dry. But I got it all cleaned up, got it all ready, and I did enter it into the show, and I was very fortunate. It won Best of Class that year, and it was a special thing. So because it did win Best of Class at the FCA, or Ferrari Club of America show, they took all the cars that won their class, and they were given invitation to go over to the 18th green at Pebble Beach and put their cars on display there, which we did. And then because it was Ferrari was the featured mark of the Monterey Star race. They had a lot of the notables from the Ferrari factory came over. It was Luca de Montemazzola was there, Piero Ferrari Lardi was there, or Piero Lardi Ferrari, I guess, at the time, and Battista, not Battista, but Pininfarina, Sergio Pininfarina, Battista's son, he was there. A lot of, and so while we had our cars out there, they all came out and they introduced themselves to each of the owners. So I got the chance to meet them, which was special for me at the time. And they said nice things about the car, and it was just a pleasure to have that great opportunity to enjoy the beautiful surroundings there on Pebble Beach, have the car there, be seen with those individuals, get a picture taken with them, and it's a memorable thing, and I still have them in my photo collections. But they certainly appeared to enjoy meeting every owner and seeing every car, and they took the time to actually look at each car. They didn't come around just and cursory hello. They came around to each individual car, and they walked around and talked to you and asked questions and looked inside of them and everything. And I think they appeared to be very pleased that these cars were still. Everyone that was there was just so beautifully maintained that even all those years later.
This model traveled 3,000 miles from Philadelphia to Monterey and remains in mint condition from the ground up. Cashman said, while he no longer has the GTB4 Daytona, he replaced it with a 2000 Ferrari 550 Maranello. One look at the 550 Maranello looks like a spy car ready for an undercover patrol in the streets of Paris. Say if the driver works for Interpol. With a name like Ferrari, it'd be hard to believe no car enthusiast wouldn't fantasize having one of their own in their garage, especially a 2000 550 Maranello. This 550 Maranello is among 3,083 produced from 1996 through the 2001 year model period. Ed Cashman bought the Maranello used in 2017 from a private owner. The 550 Maranello is a reflection of Ferrari's return to the V12 powered road cars, a far cry from the Ferrari V12 Grand Tour models dating back to the 1950s.
I drove it the first time after I purchased it. I dealt with a good friend of mine who's a broker, and he's very, very involved with Ferraris all his career, his life. And so he had it all checked out for me and did pre-purchase inspections, and he had some knowledgeable people who I got to know go out and check it out, because it was found up in, it was located up in Connecticut, and I was down here in Florida. So there was the option, I could have gone up there and see it, but they have much more insight into the things to look for than I did. So they gave me reports and sent pictures, and we talked, and took videos and everything, and they checked it all out, and they said, this is a great car, if this is the one you want. So we went ahead and they said, okay, let's get it. So they had it, got it, they had it detailed out, and then they had it shipped down to me. And got it that. I've been delighted with it ever since.
While this year model may perhaps be far from qualified as a vintage car, this 550 Maranello is about as mint condition as a vintage show car, with all components working 100% and well maintained by the owner. Measured at 179.1 inches in length and only 76.2 inches wide. And what's not a Ferrari without a little Muscolo, packing a 5.5 liter V12 that averages 485 brake horsepower at 7,000 RPMs. Compared to Cashman's 308 GTBI, the 550 Maranello's interior is a blend of classic Italian luxury and race-ready comfort. Complete with mounted adjustable bucket seats plush with Italian leather, along with the Scuderia's signature shift gate with a brushed aluminum finish that gives the appearance of stainless steel. The kind of look that might have you wondering, why aren't all manual stick shift vehicles like this? Once fastened into the 550 Maranello, and you feel like Michael Schumacher ready for a mock qualifying lap. Seating that is molded and adjustable for the driver and passenger's need for speed, with ice-cold AC blowing right in the face when the heat is on.
It's amazing. It's a much more refined car than the Daytona is. Of course, you've got to consider the expansive years and what had changed over there. They're both GT cars, but the 550 to me has a dual personality. It is a GT car, but it also has so many characteristics of a true sports car in the way that it handles. Of course, the suspension's different. They've made great advances in things for road-going cars. And the first thing you notice is the incredible low-end torque the car has. It's just got an amazing amount of low-end torque. And you can have that car in the higher gears and you just putter it around, let the RPMs fall off, and then hit it again, and it won't hesitate, it won't sputter, it won't jerk or anything. It'll just smoothly, like a turbine, just take right back off and go right up through the right up through the gear. It's incredible. You wonder how does it work, but it has that ability to do that, and it's quick off the line, much quicker than Daytona ever was. It's got so much power in many ways. I mean, back then. It was one of the truly premier cars of its time.
While cargo space in the rear may look compact at first, peek inside and you will not only find a pretty good amount of space, but the 550 Maranello's official toolkit for life's unexpected moments on the road, including an air pump for the tires, are present.
Luca de Montemazzolo, who was then head of Ferrari, he had, from what I've understood, he had directly tasked his engineers to come up with a car that would have all the capabilities and drivability and enjoyment and luxury and everything he wanted, but he wanted it to be easy to maintain and something you could use as a daily driver if you so desired. The cars prior to that, after the Daytona, that was replaced by the Boxers, 365 and the 512, and then subsequently the Testarossas. So they were mid-engine cars, and they were more, I guess, what people consider exotic. And they're wonderful cars and amazing to drive, but they didn't always have the comfort level or the ease of maintenance that he was seeking. He wanted to go back to the roots. So that's when they came up with the 550. And interestingly enough, Michael Schumacher was very much involved in the test driving of that car and everything to get everything out of it. And they introduced it at the Nürburgring the year when they were giving it to the public to show its driving capabilities and everything. And there were a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, but apparently there were considerable people that were a little skeptical, going, well, going back to a front engine car, are we going to miss something after, because everyone had gotten used to exotics being more the mid-engine stuff, Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, etc. So, but when they took it out and they introduced it to the motoring public, to journalists, motoring journalists and everything, people were really very delighted with it. And actually, it appears that over the years it has acquired more of a following, and people seem to admire the styling and its capabilities more in some ways now than they even did back then. They thought it was a very nice looking car, but it seems to now people really like the way it looks. It's aged, I'd say it's aged very well.
The 550 Maranello is as docile as a poodle in traffic and accelerates like a fighter jet. And braking was responsive and well ordered. Truly, another well-preserved breed of horse. Now living in Venice, Florida, Cashman and his 308 GTBI and Maranello are still cruising together with ease and summer holiday vibes.
For the extended version of the Ed Cashman Ferrari collection, visit the Motorlens YouTube channel. Up next, we catch up with the owner of this Toyota Corolla, turned Truckolla. That's right, he gave it a name, and yours truly here had a part in the project. Are you into cars and love to make videos? Well, Motorlens invites you to be a contributor. Drop me an email at motorlensmediagroup@gmail.com. Whether it be about collector car stories, whether it be about motoring reviews of modern day cars, videos about car shows and motor racing, you name it. The longer I've been doing this channel, I realized something. Motorlens is more than a YouTube channel. It's yours. And my channel invites you to be a part of it. So together we can write a new chapter in the motoring world. In 2016, Nick Vlasic took his 2001 Toyota Corolla and gave it an extreme makeover with the help of friends from college. A year later, with a new paint job added on and a few modifications here and there, his car went from this to this. And here's the story behind it. I caught up with Nick on the phone to catch up on Project Truckolla. After 8 years since Nick's home Modify Toyota sedan rolled out of his home garage, looking like this.
I used to love watching those shows on TLC, back when TLC was actually good. Monster Garage and Junkyard Wars. And Junkyard Wars in particular was fun because essentially they had two groups in the middle of a junkyard. They had their own workshops, and then they would venture out into the junkyard to get the materials and parts they needed to build whatever the challenge of that day was. And I kind of wanted to emulate that to some extent. And the other part of the reason for doing it is I find myself needing a truck over and over and over again. I'm like, you know what? Utes are a thing in frickin' Australia, and they do just fine. So I figured I'd combine the two and have some fun, you know? It was kind of a mixed bag, intentionally not planning ahead. Because again, emulating those shows, I don't think they knew ahead of time what the project was. So they kind of had to plan it out on the fly. And I tried to get the group to kind of throw something on the whiteboard to get a rough idea and then just go out and get the parts and start welding. But there was no plan, we just kind of winged it, and one chunk at a time, I guess. We're like, okay, well, this is in the way, so let's cut that out. This is in the way, well, we need some support here, so let's add it. The main bit of force that we had was to weld the doors before we chopped the roof off for structural rigidity. But yeah, otherwise, no, our only plan was vodka, I guess. I don't know. We just kind of went at it.
No, Dan is here. Let me show you guys. Alright. Oh yeah, you have to. Get on quick, he'll do it. Hold on, let me fix it. Let me fix this. Fixing it. Alright, fix it. There you go. Man. Oh yeah! What the flappers? Oh my god, guys. You might be genius.
You can have the single exhaust coming up. We can do a wide.
Hold up. Tailgate spoiler. Keep in mind, there's gonna be a spoiler. That's fine. That's fine. Just pull it. Keep it here. That's fine. Just pull it forward.
We'll come up right here.
Yeah, Matt. I think weld this to the flange that's there.
What's that?
Flange that we weld this to the flange that we have or whatever. Yeah.
What is that? Is that 2 or 2.5?
Weld it to the. It's close enough. Blend it to where we want. Get it right about here. Make our Y pipe that we're making, and then come out with the 2 pipes.
Yeah. It'll be scavenging, right? You got plenty of pipe or something?
We'll bend this to exactly where we want it. Once we get it where we want it, tack it to something.
Why shouldn't we just house the turbo like right there? Ooh, I like that. I like that. I really want like what Lamborghini does. They put their engine on display. I'm not kidding. I'm just going home. What if you put part of the engine on display? What if we do a
just lay the turbo right here. Pipe this to from the flange to the turbo. Pipe it out of the turbo to our Y.
I got a turbo.
I have just one thing. I'll bring it up because this is my concern with that. If that locks up, because you're not gonna put oil in the fucking. How are you going to be able to drive the car?
I don't think it's going to lock up.
Is the air still not going to get
No, it's just going to not get oiled and it'll just get looser.
It's going to be...
I'm going to advocate this.
The vanes don't have to spin for it.
Cut the vanes out of it and make it a pipe. But it looks like a turbo from the outside.
Make it less restrictive.
Yeah, because this being here is totally not... We knocked some
It'll make a whistle, though.
Knock some of the vanes out.
We need the whistle.
Yeah, you don't cut all the vanes out.
Okay.
Then it'll be in balance.
Give it to me. We'll take it to our balance. That's what I wanted maybe spin.
You have flat bar.
Give us 20 hours.
Okay. Can someone make an oil reservoir for it? All you need
No,
is...
don't be concerned with maintenance and oil and stuff.
Come on, man. Dude, it's a rusted up piece.
This is thin. That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it'll just get looser and it'll just spin better.
No, Matt.
It's not going to get hot. It's not going to melt or anything.
Maybe drill some holes in it.
You don't care? Let's do it.
Wait, no, Matt. This is it needs to exhaust. This is a remote turbo. The heat's not as bad as remote turbo.
The tricky part goes without saying, but the Toyota Corolla is not meant to hinge at that point. The trunk, that is. So we had to cut away relief at the bottom to let it open, and then getting it just rigging it up to where we thought it needed to be was a pain in the ass, because you kind of have to hold everything in position and mark it up and hope that it'll open in that manner. And then also the tricky part was the spoiler was on the tailgate, and there was no way to, like, imagine when the tailgate goes down on a normal truck, just add a little spoiler to the end of that. It's an awkward thing to sit on, but luckily the spoiler we had was, I don't know, some 2000s Mustang spoiler, I think, or early 90s or late 90s, I don't know. And it curved in such a way that lets your legs kind of sit down proper.
The drawing you see here was made by me in 2017, when during a group text there were discussions that called for a rendition of the exterior livery. The parameters at the time called for black and red racing stripes.
It's like with every project, I underestimate how much work something's going to take. It definitely, because we did 2 rounds of this, right? And the first round, by the time it was done, it was drivable, it was usable, it was very much an unfinished product. And I forget what we left for the second bit. I think the truck bed itself we left. The paint, the exhaust, I think we didn't do on the first run, or did we?
Like back in 2016, I don't recall the pipes, like the modified, exhaust pipes being put in. I remembered the roof being cut off, but not painted yet, as far as exterior goes.
There was a lot of chaotic work that was on plan. That's kind of a summary of it. There's not much thought or planning with this or expectations. The main expectation was turning it into a truck, and I knew we had accomplished that, even though there were bits and I don't think we, on the first one, we finished the bed floor. I don't think we did the exhaust, and I don't remember if we did the tailgate on the first pass. Despite that, the true test was literally the next morning when I had all the crap that we took off. So that's the back seats, the roof, the trunk, bunch of interior material, speaker, whatever you may have. And I took all that and I dumped it into the back of the Truckolla and drove it off to the junkyard.
Looking at the work done to it, I did notice that the Berlin racing stripe was painted on the wrong side of the car. Nevertheless, I was alright with that because I left it up to Nick and the others if they wanted to change the concept a little.
We've all been drinking a while at that point. Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff going on. I remember I stepped out of the house and I know Cody was working on that stripe, and I think Jake, or was it Alex? I don't know. And they already started laying it out. And I looked at them like, you guys, it's supposed to go on the other side. And they look at your drawing and they're like, oh yeah, it is. But at this point, they already like put down the masking tape across the whole damn car. We're like, okay, fine, just leave it.
Using the power of bronze, brains, and cheap liquor, this unclutchable manual stick shift got a new name: Truckolla.
Mission accomplished. We got ourselves a truck, baby.
Afterwards, we took it to Sebring to show it off in the infield camping center during the 12-hour endurance race. While it did not become an internet sensation, what me, Nick, and the others have done together was show off how much fun it is to have with cars like this and what more you can do to them, no matter your background or experience, because everyone enjoyed everybody's company together. With the car remaining in the care of family in Clearwater, Florida, Nick's hopes to one day bring it back to his estate in Colorado, so that way his kids be taught how to work on it. A little introduction to working on cars, he told me. As for when, Nick said he has plenty of time until time can be made, and boy, have they got a fun project coming their way. Next time on the Motoring World Experience, we go to the Freedom Cars and Coffee at the Bradenton, Florida racetrack, Freedom Factory. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, be driven in the know and pass it on, because car culture is more than a lifestyle. It's a community.